Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Creation Myths. With this video, I'm going to provide an introduction to a series of upcoming videos because these are going to have a very specific goal. So I want to lay it all out before jumping into it with like an actual installment in the series. In a lot of my videos, we talk about creationist arguments, the source of the argument, sometimes how that idea has developed over time, and then we dive into the biology of how and why that argument is wrong. Now, sometimes that can be more conceptual, like we talk about kind of basic concepts in PopGen, and sometimes it's something as simple as here's a direct observation of the thing creationists say can't happen, but it happened and we saw it happen, therefore they're wrong, right? Sometimes it's that easy. But whatever the reason the creationist argument is wrong, oftentimes along the way, we're going to cover a fair bit of the underlying biology. That is not what we're going to do in this series. So here's the underlying basis for what we're going to do periodically going forward. When we're debating creationists and arguing against creationism, and by we, I mean me, you, whoever is doing that publicly on the internet in whatever form that takes, text, video, whatever, we need to understand we're not really having a debate about science. When you're debating creationists, you're not really debating creationism. Rather, we need to recognize that we are participants in the broader, ongoing debate about politics and society and which direction we're going to go from here. When creationists debate, they are, wittingly or not, arguing in favor of a reactionary Christian nationalism. Now, some of them actually do so basically openly, and they hold that position. Like Ken Ham is basically openly Christian nationalist, right? And some, like Doug Wilson, are like way more extreme than him. But others are basically just useful idiots who are carrying water for that movement. Whether they want to or not, whether they recognize that's what they're doing or not, we need to be clear that that's what they're doing. So everyone watching gets that what we're really debating is left versus right, pluralism versus nationalism, objective reality versus constructed fantasy. Your position on creationism is just one way of signaling which side you're on in that broader debate. And debates about creationism are just one way of hashing out which side is winning. When you participate in that debate, if you do a shit job, you're not just helping creationists and creationism, you're giving fuel to right-wing, reactionary Christian nationalism by making them look good. Everybody needs to recognize this reality. Every debate now is fascism or not fascism. And here, with this series, I'm going to show you how to steamroll your opponents when the form that debate takes is evolution and creationism. So I want to be clear about a couple of things that we're going to be doing here. First, everybody needs to get over whatever hangups they have and recognize that this is a zero-sum game. There's no agreeing to disagree. There's no let's have a productive conversation. We can disagree about origins but still be friends. None of that. I'm done with that, and you should be too. Anybody who's savvy enough to be participating publicly in any debates having to do with creationism needs to recognize the political reality that we live in right now, and as I record this, early 2026 in the United States. The fact of the matter is, either we win or they win. So we're not playing games. We're playing to win, scorched earth, no prisoners. Second, that means we have to change our approach, right? What we're going to be talking about here is a brute force approach to these debates. No clever tiptoeing around trying to get the creationists to make this or that admission. None of the debate clinic, rhetorical trap stuff. All that stuff is great. This is not the place for it. Instead, we're talking just constant offense, straight up the middle, hammering them with brute force with the questions that they can't answer. Now, we can do this because on every issue, no matter what issue it is in the realm of evolution and creationism, there comes a point where creationists have no answers. There's a point in the beats of that discussion, if you know what to say, where they will have nothing to say. So what you got to do is bring the discussion to that point and then beat them over the head with it, metaphorically. Constant offense to make them look dumb, uninformed, and above all, weak. Here's the big takeaway I want everybody to get from this, especially if you participate in this debate in some way. And I don't just mean like live face-to-face debates on video on the internet. I mean those types of debates. I mean writing, live chats, comments, forums, Reddit, whatever. Our opponents, the right-wingers, creationists, white nationalists, incels, the MAGA debate bros, the preppy congressional staffers who are Hitler apologists in their group chats, every part of this white Christian nationalist stew, they are all, first and foremost, giant losers. And when you're debating them, that's what you have to show people, that they are unserious, weak losers, because that's how we win. Now, to do that, you don't need to have a comprehensive understanding of all the nuances of the biology underlying this or that argument. You just need to know how the conversation is going to flow, how to get it where you want it, and then finally, once you're there, how to hammer that point mercilessly. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to give you the tools to say, for any argument you might hear, here's why you're wrong, here's the thing you can't address, the end. Oh, you think you can address that? Prove it. And then you hold them to it and you force them to squirm. Ideally, like on camera. You make them visibly uncomfortable because they can't address the thing that you keep coming back to, right? Again, I want to emphasize this. The point is to make your creationist opponents look feckless and weak. Explaining science won't do that. You could give like the clearest, best explanation of whatever science in the world. Doesn't matter. What matters is that you have to put on a good show. And that's what we'll talk about in this series. My hope is that after a few episodes, people will start changing how they approach these conversations and start knocking creationists off balance. It's going to take practice because the fact of the matter is the pro-science side has a habit of wanting to explain the science. If you do this, it's probably because you have a passion for the science and want to help people understand the science. That's all well and good. Debating creationists is not the time to do that, right? It is a different thing entirely. So it's going to take practice, but done right, this stuff does work. And the last point I want to make here is I just want to remind everybody one more time that this matters because this isn't actually about creationism. Debates about creationism are just an opportunity to make Christian nationalism look stupid and weak. And that's how you should be thinking about them. Start there and build your approach around that. That's all I want to say for this one. More coming soon. Thanks for watching. Remember to do all the algorithm-friendly things. And as always, don't get fooled.